Michael, help me with the Dansack.
Dansack.
Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning. An attorney in here, and I don't have a will, and I'm fascinated with the number of people. I think it's like 8 and 10 people don't have wills.
And you asked
existing wills, and I've got children. I own some property, and I really should have one, shouldn't I?
You certainly may. You asked me if I was surprised by that number, and I see it all the time. People have a sense of invincibility, or I'll put it off and do it tomorrow,
Right.
or I'll get to it, and they don't. So if you have children, you have property, you should be thinking about putting together a plan. That plan may change throughout the years. I mean, I see people who come in, and they've done a will, 20 years later they come back and that paper's yellowed and
Right.
circumstances have changed, and they haven't given it any thought to make any updates from that initial will.
Well, it needs continuous updating, I'm sure, but
Correct.
How big is it to get your first will? How hard is it to do?
Well, it's not really hard at all. In our office, basically, if somebody came in to see me, we're going to give them a basic, very brief intake so that they put down information about who's the members of their families that they would like to include in their will, what kind of property they may own, and the types of property ownership that property may be, because not all property is going to be governed by the will. Basically, only that property that you own individually, that's in your name alone, is basically going to be transferred through that will and through the probate process.
What age should you really be interested in having a will, and by what age should you definitely have one? I know you say when you're of you know, when you have children and stuff, but I mean, we've got a lot of people coming out of college today, and they're starting to earn some money, and it should be safeguarded, correct?
Exactly, because you never know, even if you don't have much in the way of assets, if you're involved in an automobile accident and unfortunately you are killed in that automobile accident, that will still can govern the process thereafter as far as who the executor is and what kind of beneficiaries that you're naming. So it's very important, I think, after you're out of school, if you're earning, you have some property, to give that consideration, and then again, through the years, to modify or change that as circumstances change.
Okay. How long will it take to initially, say, come and see you until your will is done, and is it an expensive proposition?
It's not an expensive proposition. Generally, if somebody comes in, you can, in our office, on a basic will, you're probably talking about a half-hour time for a consultation and appointment, and then generally a 7 to 10-day period, a draft would come out that you'd have an opportunity to review and make any changes. Maybe you've had second thoughts or added thought about something later on that you didn't include, and then we can make those changes and get you back in to execute it. A lot of people look at the internet wills and the simple will kits, and
that was my next question.
Exactly, that's a good question, because those generally, I don't like them, because again, the internet marketers are trying to look across the country, and there's 50 different states and probably 50 different types of technicalities that each of those states may have to make sure your will is properly executed and witnessed and done in a proper way and it has the correct language in there. So I think it's worth going to see an attorney. Generally, again, it's a relatively inexpensive proposition. A basic will may run you from $75 or $100 maybe to $150, $200, something in that range. It's not that expensive. If you get into trusts and other types of estate planning, and there are things as far as power of attorney for health care and financial and living wills and those kinds of things, you can talk about a little bit additional expense, but a basic will really is not that expensive.
Right. Get it done, and your advice, don't do it on the internet, have it customized for you, so it fits your circumstances.
That's correct.
Okay. Michael Dansack, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, John.
Really appreciate it.